Hi, I'm Jamie.
And I'm Jared, and we are mum and dad of almost 2-year-old Millie, who, without the incredible work of the Royal Children's Hospital, would not be here today.
Millie has a history of febrile seizures, which for any kid is pretty normal. So typically, if she gets a cold, she'll most likely have a seizure. But on the 19th of July last year, what seemed to be at the onset of any sort of cold, which began with a seizure, quickly turned into a living nightmare.
Yeah, so I just finished work and Jamie called me to say Millie wasn't feeling well, and during that phone call a seizure started. So Jay did really well in hanging straight up and calling 000. And long story short, within an hour after, we were at Monash Hospital, where Millie's put into an induced coma.
I mean, it's something we'd experienced before, but we realised how serious it was when it went from 2 nurses to 24 people in the room. When Millie was put into the induced coma, they tested her for COVID. She tested positive, and within the first 12 hours, just rapidly deteriorated. Millie was put on ECMO, which is a heart and lung bypass machine, which essentially, was keeping her alive in that it was pumping her heart and breathing for her.
So when we were told that Millie had maxed out the machine at Monash and she had to be transferred to the Royal Children's Hospital, Jamie and I, within that time, while we were waiting, actually had gone positive as well. So obviously the whole family had it, and unfortunately we weren't allowed to go with her to the Royal Children's Hospital, which we completely understood for the safety of all the kids there, but it was a pretty bitter pill to swallow. Unfortunately, at about 10 a.m, they called us back to say that you have to come in because she's had a stroke and we don't know how much time she has left. You need to come and be with her and be prepared to say goodbye forever.
Thankfully, the medical team were just incredible, so supportive, kept us up to date, but in a very realistic way, which we really appreciated.
So they were just preparing us for stable is great, and the tide will eventually turn with the medication and the sedation that she was on, in consultation with the ECMO machine, that her heart and lungs would fight back. And thankfully in the next 4 or 5 days, that's exactly how it played out.
I think the most important thing for us being in isolation and away from her was the opportunity to have video calls with her. So the nursing staff was so awesome. We would do a call sometimes twice a day, sometimes in the morning, but always at night. We were always able to say goodnight and read her story.
You can't imagine the comfort in a diabolical situation like that that gives you to see 2 smiling nurses. Well, they had masks on obviously, but you can tell with the eyes and just the care that they were loving her like their own daughter. So Millie was in ICU for 28 days of our 35-day stay at the Royal Children's. And when things were obviously looking really, really up at that stage, and her therapy had developed and everything was coming back to baseline or normal for us and her, just the nerd in me asked for a basic costing of what this would have cost us if we weren't in such a lucky country. So it's mind-blowingly crazy, really, that they saved her life, and it would have cost about $550,000. Well, it did, and we got billed for $45 for medicine on the way out.
You know, our story is one that we never thought we would ever live. It was always, this is what you get told by other people. You know, you hear these stories, you don't ever think you're going to experience it for yourself.
In trying to make it possible for everyone to have the outcome that we have thankfully gotten, that's why we're asking, please donate. And yeah, I know times are tough right now with the cost of living and what's happening in the world, but every dollar will count. And it'll mean a lot for the unfortunate families that need to burst through the emergency doors like we did.
Yeah, we'll be forever grateful.